Good afternoon, class. Now I am going to share the screen for you. Okay. Okay, in the previous class, we have discussed regarding the microeconomics. Just it is the study of individual, consumer, or a firm. It is called as microeconomics. It is also called as theory of firm. And we already know that micro means 1 millionth. That is in the order of 10 to the power of minus 6. Okay. So now we have to start discussing this macroeconomics. What macroeconomics is? Okay, generally when we think of the economic activity in a country, it is generally treated as a macroeconomics. The study of aggregate or total level of economic activity in a country is called as macroeconomics. It studies the flow of economic resources or factors of production. We can also say it is the study of flow of economic resources or factors of production. What are the factors of production? You see here: land, labor, capital, organization, and technology. Generally, these are called as factors of production. Generally, we also call these as economic resources. We are studying how these factors are used or how they are moving for producing the output. Land, labor, capital, organization, technology. Okay, how they are moving from the resource owner to the business firms, and then from the business firms to the households. So one person will be producing some amount of iron. Some company is producing some amount of iron that we are bringing to our firm, and we are making some product using that particular iron, and that iron is changed into some product, and that will be moving to the households. Is coming to the consumer's house, right? This is this is the total study how it is moving from one place to the other. This all comes under the economic activity, right? It is called as macroeconomics. And not only that, we can also say the total activities such as employment of a country, how what is the production of so and so thing of a country. All these aspects come under the macroeconomics. Right. We also have one more term called as welfare economics. Okay. Generally, it is not present in our syllabus, but we'll see what welfare economics is. Okay. Welfare economics is the branch of economics which primarily deals with taking off poverty. Taking off poverty. Famine. Famine means shortage. Famine means shortage. We can also call in Telugu as karu. Famine means karu. Karu. Okay, taking out of this poverty, famine, and distribution of the wealth in an economy. This thing is nothing but the welfare economics. Okay, this is also called as development economics. It's just a part of economics only, but it is little bit different, right? It is studying the how to take out the poverty, how to take out famine, and if some of the resources has given to that famine districts, whether it is in proper use or not. Okay, if in certain things have gone terribly bad in some situation, it is necessary to explain why things has gone wrong, right? Here we had in previous days or previous years, Professor Amritya Sen. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1998 in recognition of his contribution to the welfare economics. Right? He gained recognition for his studies of 1974 famine in Bangladesh. His work has challenged the common view that food shortage is the major cause of famine. Food shortage is the major cause for famine. Okay, Amritya Sen. We simply called as Professor Sen. Okay, he got Nobel Prize in the year 1998. He studied the famine, 1974 famine of Bangladesh, and he had given the results. Food shortage is the major cause of famine, and also not only that, famine can occur even when the food supply is high, but people cannot buy the food because they don't have money. Even though there is food, but people are unable to buy. If they don't have sufficient amount of money for buying that food, that also causes the famines. Okay. So in some cases, this welfare economics takes care of managerial economics tends to ignore. Do you understand? Welfare economics takes care of what managerial economics tends to ignore in some cases. Generally, this welfare economics is to uplift in some of the conditions. Right. So, in general, now we go for what management is. Okay, you see here, management is the science and art of getting things done through people in formally organized groups. Okay, what we want to say here is if you are the head of a company, or else if you are a manager, you should be able to manage some particular group and you have to make them work for the company or for the organization or for you. Okay, you should have the art of doing art to make them work. Okay, you should be able to make them work for you. Okay, it is necessary that every organization be well managed to enable it to achieve its desired goals. So generally, as a manager, you will be having some amount of targets. Some targets you will be having. If you are the management itself, you will also think of gaining more amount of profit, or you will also be having some amount of target. Every time we don't think of money only as a or else profit also. Sometimes we may think of doing social service also. Okay, we may have different types of targets. To achieve those targets, we have to make our our employees to work for us to achieve those targets. So management includes a number of functions. What are they? You can see planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. So you should have a proper plan to. So once again, I am going to share the screen. So you can see here what management is, right? Management is the science and art of getting the things done through the people in formally an organized group. Okay, it is necessary that every organization will be well managed to enable it to achieve its desired goals. To achieve the desired goals, we should have managed properly to achieve that particular goals. Generally, the management includes these type of functions. Okay, generally they are planning. To achieve a particular goal, you should have some amount of planning. Okay, if your target is producing 2000 number of bikes for 3 months, you should have some planning such a way that how much amount of iron is required, alloy is required, some fiber is required, all these aspects. You should have proper planning, and it has to be done, the work has to be done in an organized manner, right? The work has to be done in an organized manner, and if necessary, you should take some amount of new staff, or you have to see that whether the staff is sufficient or not to produce your goal that may be producing some 2000 amount of bikes. If not sufficient, if the staff is not sufficient, you have to take new staff. It is called as staffing. I'm going to share the screen once again. So to achieve some amount of goals, it has to be done in a organized manner, right? And if at all any extra number of staff is required, we have to take them, and we have to direct the staff properly in such a way that to get the better output and to achieve our goal. Okay, do you get now? If you have a proper plan and if you are going in an organized manner, and if you take the staff also, if you don't give the proper instructions to the staff who are working under you, okay, if you don't direct them properly, we can't get the required output, and also controlling is required over the staff to whom you have given the work. Do you understand now? To achieve a particular goal, we should have some particular planning and some organizing manner, some staffing, directing and controlling. If the worker who is working under you, if he is not listening your words and he is doing as he like, we can't get the proper output. So we should also have controlling over those employees also. Okay. The manager, while directing the efforts of his staff, communicates them the goals. If you are a manager, you should communicate to your subordinates. Coordinates means in the same level. Subordinates means the persons who are under you, under your control. Do you get now? When you communicate, you have to communicate clearly that what are your goals, what are your objectives, and what are the policies and procedures. Okay, and coordinates their efforts, motivates them to sustain their enthusiasm, and leads them to achieve the corporate goals. Do you get now? If you are a manager and if you are some number of employees, say some 40 to 50 employees, 50 member of employees are working under you, you have to communicate to them what is your goal. Say that in the month of August or in the month of September, if you want to produce 1000 number of bikes, you have to communicate to them. So our target is to produce 1000 number of bikes in the month of August. So to do that, we have to work in this way. We have to work in this way. Okay. You have to motivate them also. You should motivate them to achieve your goal. Okay. You should communicate what are your goals, objectives, policies and procedures and coordinate their efforts. Motivate them to sustain their enthusiasm and leads them to achieve the corporate goals. Right. So if, what are the works of a manager? You see here. A manager gets things done through people in an organization. He directs the resources such as men, material, machines, money and technology. Here men in the sense both men and women. It doesn't mean only men, right? Here men in the sense the person who are working. He has to direct the resources such as men, material, machines, money and technology. He has to direct all these concepts to achieve the required goal. Okay, the manager is responsible for achieving the targeted results. So that is the reason why a manager stresses the persons who are working under them continuously. Why? Because if he don't do like that, he is unable to achieve the target. Do you get now? Manager is responsible for achieving the targeted results. So if a company CEO is there, if a company CEO is there, he will be asking the manager whether we are able to achieve the target or not. If he says once yes, then he has to fulfill it. Okay. So the manager's task is to maximize the profits of the firm. The management will be asking a manager to maximize the profits of the firm. Okay. So he has to do that. As a manager, he has to maximize the profits of the firm. Okay. In the process of fulfilling this task, that is maximizing the profit of the firm, he has to take several decisions, such as planning the production, fixing the selling price, adding a particular product or dropping it from the product line, etc. Okay, if, the management gives some target, they will simply say that I want this much amount of profit by the end of first quarter. Say we said already April 1st onwards, April, May and June, at the end of the June month is the first quarter. If we say that I want this amount of product profit, the management we may say to the manager, by the end of the first quarter I should have this much amount of profit. To attain that profit, he has to take several decisions. That may be planning the product, fixing the selling price, adding a particular product or dropping it from the product line. And we already seen an example. If there are a company produces products such as A, B, C, one will be producing high amount of profit, the other one will be producing very less amount of profit, and the third one is in the neutral condition. It is neither producing profit or not, or it may not be producing the profit. And if there is a D, a product D, which will be making loss to the company, he has to think of it to drop the product D, which is causing loss to company. Okay, so a manager should have the knowledge of economics for optimizing the costs and increase the revenue, that is nothing but the profit of the firm. Okay, so now we come for managerial economics. So generally this managerial economics, it has gained popularity in USA after the publication of the book Managerial Economics by Joel Dean in 1951. Okay, managerial economics refers to the firm's decision making process. It could also be interpreted as economics of management. And managerial economics is also called as industrial economics or business economics. This Joel Dean observed managerial economics shows how economic analysis can be used in formulating the policies. Actually, this managerial economics came into existence, or it has gained popularity in USA in 1951 by publication of by publishing this book called as Managerial Economics by Joel Dean. Okay, we have different names for this. Okay, managerial economics is also called as industrial economics or business economics. Okay, so we have some definitions which was given by different number of economists for the managerial economics. So you can see the first definition, the content which is present in the board, you can see with numbering. They are the economists who has given the definitions for this managerial economics, right? Spencer and Sigelman. Okay. Managerial economics defined as the integration of economic theory with business practice for the purpose of facilitating decision making and forward planning by management, right? The second definition given by Brigham and Papas. So those are the names of the economists of different countries. Okay, we may not be able to pronounce them properly. We don't know exactly what is the pronunciation of those. Whatever the case may be, we have different definitions for this managerial economics, right? So these two persons believe that managerial economics is the application of economic theory and methodology to business administration practice. And we also had one more definition as C.S. Harris and T.R. Small. They have believes that managerial economics is concerned with the business efficiency. And Hugh observes, the other economist named Hugh, observed that managerial economics is the fundamental economic subject which seeks to understand and to analyze the problems of business decision making. Here once again comes Papas with Hirsche. He also given some other definition. Managerial economics applies economic theory and methods to business and administrative decision making. Okay. Michael R. Bay, he also defines managerial economics as the study of how to direct shortage resources, scarce resources, in a way that most efficiently achieves the managerial goals. Hence, Mott and Powell defined managerial economics. It's applied decision making. They consider this as a bridge. Bridge between the abstract theory and the managerial practice. So whatever the case may be, we have different definitions for this and we can simply summarize them. We can observe that managerial economics as application of principles of economics to solve managerial problems such as minimizing cost or maximizing production and productivity, and also directs the utilization of scarcity resources in goal-oriented manner, and also understanding and analyzing the problems of businesses in decision making and to facilitate forward planning. Okay, what we have observed from the definitions, about definitions. Okay, next we go with the nature of managerial economics. Okay, we have nature, or we can also call as characteristics of managerial economics. We have from A to H. So generally this managerial economics is close to microeconomics. Okay, managerial economics is concerned with finding the solution for different managerial problems of a particular firm. Thus, it is more close to microeconomics. Okay, we already studied that microeconomics is generally dealing with only a single firm. Okay, microeconomics is dealing only with a single firm. So here also in a firm, we are able to solve some problems related to that. That may be some managerial problems. Okay, B is operates against the backdrop of macroeconomics. So this managerial economics is going to operate against the backdrop of macroeconomics. If at all some problems are there in macroeconomics, it is this managerial economics is going to overcome those. The macroeconomics conditions of economy are also seen as limiting factor for the firm to operate. Okay. In other words, we can say the managerial economist has to be aware of the limits set by the macroeconomics conditions such as government industrial policy, inflation, and so on. Do you get what inflation is? Okay. Inflation is nothing but the value of rupee in our country is getting changed. That is nothing but inflation. Once upon a time, the cost of petrol is around 30 to 40 rupees. Now it is at the cost of 75 to 80 rupees. Okay, 1 liter petrol. That is, it is continuously varying, it is increasing. That is called inflation changes, right? Normative statements. In the managerial economics, we also have normative statements such as ought or should. Out means I will be fulfilling. We say that I will be fulfilling so and so. Out means promising something. Okay, and I should be doing this. I will be doing this like this. They reflect people's morals, attitude, and are expressions of what a team of people ought to do. For instance, it deals with the statements such as Government of India should open up the economy. Such statements are based on value judgments and expressions views of what is good or bad, right or wrong. Okay, don't think too much about that. Normative statements are generally some statements which just like promises. Perspective actions. These actions will be generally goal oriented. Okay, next applied nature. Models are built to reflect the real life complex business situations. Okay, and these models are of immense help to the managers for decision making. Okay, under the nature of managerial economics, we can also see offers the scope to evaluate each alternative. So, if you see, for an example, generally we used to talk with the bikes only, right? As an example. So, when a bike was, if you see, for an example, I take Hero Honda Splendor. When it was released, it is made up of iron only, with pure iron, and it is very strong bike. Okay, it's a good aspect, but mileage is in the range of 55 to 60. As a customer, what he thinks is he want his bike to give more amount of mileage per liter. He want more number of kilometers covered. So the company thinks of other alternative. What to do then? What they thought is instead of making the total bike with the help of iron, they go for some other material which decreases the weight of the bike. Automatically there will be increase in the mileage. Do you get now? As a manager or else as a person of that particular company, they thought that instead of increase the mileage of that particular bike, what are the other alternatives? Okay, so we should think of it. We have to see some other alternatives also for everything there. As a manager, you have to think of that better alternatives to maximize the profits of the firm. Right. Next is interdisciplinary. We have to study this in detail. What interdisciplinary is? This managerial economics is connected with other subjects also, such as economics, management, mathematics, statistics, accountancy, psychology, organizational behavior, sociology, and etc. So we have some assumptions and limitations also to this managerial economics. We can't say that managerial economics is the superpower. It is also having some exceptions, right? So the problem in, you can say, a single problem may have different solutions generally in this managerial economics theoretically. Okay, not an accountant in the accountancy, not in accountancy, but when you are in a company, if some problem persists, we can't go further. We have to solve the problem, we have to move forward. That solution may not be universal. Okay, that may be different from situation to situation. Do you get now? For a company, in a company, if workers are doing strike, asking for increase in the salaries. In the previous days, if they have agreed for 10% hike, at now they may not be agreeing for 10% hike. They may be asking around 50% or 60%. If you give 10% of hike, they are not going to work for you. The strike is not going to stop. Do you get now? Previously, before just 5 years back, if there is a strike asking for increasing the hike of the salaries, at that time the management have given 5% or 10% as a hike. The same fashion after 5 years also, if you give for the, you think that previously the same problem has occurred and there the customers, that means sorry, the workers has obeyed for 10% increase in the hike and they have stopped and strike and they have gone for work. But at this situation, in today also, they may not be working for you for just by taking the 5% or 10% of the hike. Do you get now? The problem will may be the same, but the solution may not be the same, right? They may ask other than money or increase in the hike of salaries. Not only those, they may ask some other needs also. So that is different. Managerial economics is, that's why it is very much different. So here, if you go with the scope of managerial economics, the main focus is to find the optimal solution to a given managerial problem. That problem may be related to the production or reduction of cost or control of cost, determination of price of a given product or service, make or buy decisions, inventory decisions, capital management or profit planning and management, investment decisions or human resource management, While all these problems, the managerial economics makes use of the concepts, tools, and techniques of economics and other related disciplines to find a optimal solution to a given managerial problem. So if we get a problem, a managerial problem, and that problem may be of any of this type. Okay, we should find the optimal solution to it. Okay.